Now, there's much ancient wisdom on our planet to help us chart a conscious course to stay aware of the love that we are through the process of death and dying, birth and living. The Tibetan Book of the Dead is one such guide, put together from thousands of years of research from teachers who developed their conscious awareness through numerous cycles of birth and death, as recounted in Zigzag Zen, one of our class texts. The original Bardo Thodol, or Tibetan Book of the Dead, describes 3 bardos. The word means phases or stages, occurring between death and rebirth. It's not so well known that the Tibetan Buddhist teachings actually concern a total of 6 bardos. The other 3, bardos of waking life, of dreaming, and meditating, are phases of consciousness in ordinary life between birth and death. The title actually translates to mean the Book of Liberation through Understanding the Bardo States, and concerns itself primarily with providing guidance for the dying person on how to find their way through the 3 after-death Bardo states, giving detailed and explicit instructions on how people can be helped to make the most favorable kind of rebirth possible. In practical terms, the teachings of Bardo Thodol are that immediately at death, in the Bardo of the moment of dying, the dying person is urged to maintain one-pointed concentration on the clear light, which is also referred to as the uncreated. If the deceased, like most ordinary people, is not able to pass on to the unobstructed Pure Land realms during the Bardo of dying and gets caught up in fear and confusion due to insufficient concentration and preparation, he or she will wander through the intermediate realms, the second Bardo realm. In this realm, or phase called the Bardo of the experiencing of reality, the dominant features are dramatically contrasting visions, encounters with peaceful angelic beings and ferocious demonic ones. These peaceful and wrathful deities are described with elaborate detail in the fantastic iconography of Tibetan Buddhism. The deceased is repeatedly reminded by the attendant Lama priest reading from the Bardo Thodol not to be overwhelmed by either the heavenly or the hellish visions, but to remember that they are all projections of one's mind. These beautiful and ugly visions are the reflections and projections of your mind and life as seen in the mirror held up by the death god Yama. If you stay centered in the middle path between the extremes of dualistic judgment, you will still be able to pass through to the pure light realms of the higher dimensions. There are also encounters with mysterious knowledge-holding deities whose flame-surrounded bodies burn off the false images obstructing and distorting true knowledge. Again, due to the lack of training and or preparation on the part of most ordinary people, the Bardo traveling soul, after repeatedly lapsing into unconsciousness, then finds itself in the 3rd phase, the Bardo of seeking rebirth, in which he or she wanders about seeking to orient itself again to ordinary existence and find a family to be born into. That's the life between lives. The 2nd Bardo ends with the process of choosing another human incarnation. What the Tibetan Book of the Dead calls the Bardo of Rebirth is the phase that involves the choosing and preparing for one's next incarnation. Now, this phase includes the soul's selection of a new set of parents, the conception event, and the entire prenatal journey up to the new birth. Although the Buddhist texts do not explicitly use our current terminology of prenatal epoch or perinatal experience, we can find in the teachings of the after-death states striking parallels with findings now emerging out of the work of prenatal and past life regression therapists, as well as highly developed intuitives. In the 3rd phase, called the Bardo of seeking a new life, The traveler in the intermediate realms is repeatedly admonished to remember where he is, and that his thoughts and intentions will profoundly affect the kind of experience he or she will have in a new life. He is told that he is not in the ordinary body, but a mental body, or Bardo body, or desire body, a body that cannot be killed, but that can fly, pass through walls, has all kinds of non-ordinary capacities. In other words, he or she is experiencing what in esoteric traditions is referred to as the etheric double and the intermediate planes, descending step by step to the time-space material level of existence. The deceased is then reminded of the 6 possible worlds of samsara, existence, into which one might find him or herself drifting, carried along by the karmic propensities of their previous existence. Here are the teachings of the Bardo Thodol converge with the teachings represented in the well-known Wheel of Samsara, with its 6 possible realms or states of consciousness in which we may find ourselves after death, but also during life. Now, many Western Buddhists have difficulties with the concept of rebirth in the 6 realms, or even with rebirth at all. No one can prove to us what lies beyond death. However, we can investigate our minds here and now and discover all the worlds contained within. We can find out what life as human being really means at this very moment. Trungpa Rinpoche always spoke of the 6 realms as states of mind, and emphasized the importance of understanding them in this way while we have the opportunity in this life. The hell realm is marked by claustrophobic and catastrophic feelings of pain, suffering, and victimization. The Preta realm of hungry ghosts is a world of perpetually frustrated cravings, symbolized by the distended stomachs and thin mouths of spirits of the realm. The animal realm is a world focused on survival instincts, food, sex, sleep, self-preservation, with a lack of aspiration for higher values. The Ashura realm is a world of struggle, competition, and violence, into which we come through discontent and grasping envy. The world of devas, or gods, is a realm of pleasure and aesthetic delight of the senses. In the Buddhist view, this realm or state is not the goal to be sought, but merely a pleasant, though transient state resulting from good karma, but not contributive to growth or new learning. The human realm is described by Trungpa as the epitome of communication and relationship, in which there is curiosity for knowledge and aspiration for spiritual values. It has some of the qualities of all the other realms, as we know, but is less fixated and bound by those. In the Bardo Thodol, the Bardo traveler is admonished and reminded to avoid being caught or driven into any of the realms, but if and when rebirth becomes unavoidable, to aim our intention either for the Deva room or the human realm. The human world is considered the best of the 6 to be born into, because it offers the precious opportunity of liberation and enlightenment. When we are in any of the other 5 realms of experience, our existence is more or less totally conditioned by our past karmic actions and determined by external circumstances. Staying with conscious intention at the very beginning is more likely to lead to a more conscious human lifetime. To summarize, the instructions of the Bardo Thodol for the most favorable kind of rebirth are to delay the return from the light and wisdom-filled heaven worlds as long as possible, and when the time finally does come, which you will know by seeing acts of copulation and conception between men and women, to choose a birth family where the likelihood of coming into contact with the Dharma teachings are greatest. The ending of the interlife period is the beginning of the Bardo of Rebirth. The decision is made to reincarnate in a blending of karmic tendencies and conscious choice, and conception takes place in a fleshy human womb. This rebirth phase ends with the actual physical birth 9 months later, when we start cycling through the 3 bardos of waking, dreaming, and meditating. Now, I present these teachings not to suggest that they are the absolute truth, but to glean from ancient wisdom what might be useful in learning about how we go through our own mental and emotional cycle of states from hell to human each day. It's time to break these endless cycles of negative and limited thinking and be the guide that takes us to the clear light more and more of the time. The lessons learned in the Bardo states of afterlife are parallel to the stages of waking life. 1, coming in with innocent perception, but being unable to sustain it. 2, being drawn continuously into identifying with emotionally evocative images in the horrible and the sublime. Well, just watch the news and see them both. 3, finally deciding to change the entire scene, but often creating a new one, a new life, a new marriage, a new job, based on many of the beliefs we drag along from the old one. And so it goes till we have a true change of heart, rather than just replaying old beliefs in new clothing. For the purpose of ending our cyclical patterns and ascending to greater integration and clarity, let's take Class 9, Handout 3, Maintaining My Love and Light, and make conscious choices about the quality of our existence. 1. Fears that have controlled me in the past are A, B, C. List 3 major fears. Now, you may have these fears now, but I use the past tense, in the past, so as not to reaffirm their grip on us now and put a little distance between us and them. Attractions that have controlled me in the past are A, B, and C. List 3 addictive attractions for you. 3. Ways I maintain awareness of the love and light I am daily are A, B, and C. List 3 ways you are willing to maintain your awareness of the love and light you are daily. Stop the video if possible and complete this exercise.